discuss the topics one by one. So first of all, what is biodiversity? So we will write the definition. Okay, so the definition of the biodiversity is, it's the number or variety of life, okay, present on earth as a whole. Okay, so I will repeat the definition again for you. The biodiversity is known as the number or variety of life present on earth as a whole. We can also state the definition according to the habitat also, in a particular region also, that if you want to know what is the biodiversity in particular zone, then we will say that there are some total of these number of varieties they are present there. So that is a biodiversity. We can take it as on earth as a whole, or we can take it as a habitat also. Okay, so basically there are three types of biodiversity. The first is the genetic biodiversity. Okay, then there is a species biodiversity. Then there is a ecosystem diversity. Okay, so we will discuss one by one. So first of all, the genetic biodiversity. So genetic biodiversity covers the variation within species. Okay, so it includes the variation within species. Okay, so example, like suppose if we take the example of the rose, then there are several colors, okay, of roses. Like there are red color roses, pink color roses, black color roses, purple color roses. Okay, so these the variation within the species is known as genetic diversity. Okay, so what is the role of genetic diversity? It allows species to adapt to changing environment. Okay, so it is playing role in the adaptation. Okay, then we are going to talk about the species diversity, the number and the variety of different species in a given area. Okay, so the number and variety, I have written here an O dot. Okay, number and variety of different species in a given area, okay, is known as the species diversity. Okay, so example is like we can take the example of the rainforest. Okay, so the rainforest will have the insects and birds also, and the wide ocean is also the example, that is the home to countless fishes and marine mammals. Okay, so there are different kinds of fishes into the wide ocean also. Okay, so the ocean is also the example of the species diversity. And obviously the forest, there are so many types of plants, so many types of insects, so many types of birds. Okay, so then comes the ecosystem diversity. So the variety of the habitats, the biological communities and the ecological process in the biosphere is covered under the diversity. So what will differ? The habitat, there will be the variation in the habitats, biological communities, and ecological process. And if you want to take the example, the ecosystem diversity, we can observe that there is a huge difference in between the coral reefs, deserts, and the mangrove forest. Okay, so now let's talk about the significance. So what is the significance of biodiversity and why does it matter? So I will try to explain the significance in 4 broader terms. The first is the ecosystem stability and resilience. Okay, So a diverse ecosystem, it is essential to maintain the ecosystem functions. Okay, so a diverse ecosystem, it is essential to maintain the ecosystem function. Okay, for example, if one species, okay, is affected like by a disease or environmental change, suppose we'll take a example of the birds. Okay, so what will happen if there are a number of birds? Okay, so there are a number of birds. So if in a particular habitat, suppose there are 100 birds, and among 100, 20 will die, okay, due to some disease, or maybe they are of same age and they have aged, okay, so they will die. Then this 80 will be left, right? So these 80 birds, they will then reproduce and produce, suppose 40 new birds. Okay, so there will be now total 120 birds. So by this way, the one species is affected by the disease or environmental change, then other can step in to fill the void. Okay, so this will maintain the stability of the ecosystem. Okay, you understand? The second is the provision of the essential resources. So what does it mean that? So the biodiversity, if we talk about ourselves only, then the biodiversity will provide us the essential resources like food, medicine, and industrial material. Okay, so if we talk about the food, then diversity, if there is a diversity, right, then we will get the different vast array of the food sources from the crops, okay, and the livestock. Okay, and so now, like, if we know, then we have the wheat also, then we have rice, barley, etc., right? So this is all diversity in the food. Okay, so from the medicine also, we are from the natural sources, we are getting many medicines also. For example, we are getting the penicillin from fungi. Okay, then we are getting the industrial material of our use also from the this diversity. Okay, we are getting the wood, different kinds of wood, fibers, resins, etc., right? So all this we are getting because of the diversity. The third is the regulation of ecosystem process. So the diversity, it helps in regulation of several processes also. For example, the pollination. So there are diverse kind of the bees, butterfly, and other pollinators that are essential for the reproduction of the plants. Okay, including the food crops. So it is very important that diversity play the role in the regulation of ecosystem processes. There is the diversity also help in the process of the water purification. Okay, and the climate regulation also. Okay, so what happened, the wetlands and the forest, they will, what they will do, they will filter and purify water and ensuring clean drinking water for millions. And the forest, it absorbs the carbon dioxide also, that will help to mitigate the climate change. Okay, so last but not the least, I will write it here, the culture and aesthetic value of the biodiversity. Okay, so what does it mean? That it means that the nature, it's inspired several processes like art, literature, music, spiritual connection, and it will also influence the quality of our life, right? So these are the four key significance of the biodiversity in our life. Okay, okay, now let's quickly, just in point wise manner, learns the threat to the biodiversity, then the habitat loss. Okay, pollution, climate change, overexploitation, and the invasive species. Okay, So these are the major threats to the biodiversity. Okay, so let's now talk about the important next topic of class 11, that is the nomenclature.